I'm Lainey Hunter with Enterbridge Technologies, where we believe your business is unique and your software should be too. Joining with me today are Kim Moore and Gilbert Dawkins from Fahrenheit Advisors. Hello, Kim and Gilbert.
Glad to join you.
Nice to have you guys. Yes. So super excited to dive in. Kim and Gilbert both come with a extensive finance background. So we're going to be talking about RPA and finance and some use cases that we can see in that industry. So first off, I want to ask you both. I'll start with you, Kim. Will you just tell us a little bit about your background, what it is that you do at Fahrenheit Advisors?
Sure. My background is in IT consulting. I have been a consultant for several years for other firms. I have done project delivery work in healthcare IT, cybersecurity, data analytics, electronic health records, and system evaluation and procurement. So I come to Fahrenheit as a technology consultant for them, even though Fahrenheit Advisors is not known for being in technology. We are known in other areas. They had recognized the need for bringing in technology conversations in with their clients. So I am the lone technology consultant to help our other fabulous consultants have those conversations and find solutions where they may need to be implemented.
Very cool. How long have you been with Fahrenheit?
Been with Fahrenheit since December of 2021, and I am in the advisory practice. So I also help with leadership conversations, change management, innovation conversations, and evaluations.
Very cool. All right, Gilbert, I'll hop over to you.
I started off with the public accounting route, did a lot of auditing. We spent a lot of time on control, evaluation, reevaluation, financial reporting, preparation, and addressing those needs of the clients, so juggling a lot of different clients. And then I moved into private accounting. And while I was there, I got to do a lot with actually system implementations, which was not initially by choice, but it was something I got brought into. And that ended up kind of bridging me over to join Fahrenheit, where they were looking at some of their mid-tier clients where they were going to be having accounting tools to then add. So I could use my public accounting background to fill fractional work, do a lot of fractional work with in finance, but at the same time be able to help clients with any system tools that they need, add-ons like Power BI or Blackline or something along that line. So it's been kind of a fun area to play for me at Fahrenheit, where I can come in and help clients both relationally, but also in their finance and technical needs, but also on the system side as well. So kind of bridging that gap and being able to communicate with consultants that are in IT and then also in finance. And so it's been an exciting area to play. And I think that's kind of the future of accounting in a lot of ways, accounting and finance. It's going to be a lot of overlap.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. In all the finance professionals I've spoken to recently, I feel like the prevailing idea is that you've got to be a technologist too. There's just no way around it. So in your, experience as a finance professional, Gilbert, what would you say are the prevailing challenges or major challenge industries?
Well, I think it's similar to, across industries, really. It starts with the people. So one of the biggest issues that I think a lot of the clients face is getting the right personnel and keeping the right personnel. And they all have the technical area that you need to work on within the company, which we'll talk about more later. But it starts with the people, which is why I think Fahrenheit's been able to help with that, because they place the quality people with companies that kind of the personalities match up, all of that. And I think through my experience, at least with the clients I've had, it's been a lot of times they can hire good people. That's a very difficult part, but it's then keeping those good people and setting them up in a way that they can succeed, which is the technical expertise, the technical side of, are they giving them the tools to allow them to use their knowledge, use their CPA, use their MBA, use their experience and their education in a way that's not burning them out through kind of monotonous work that's just done over and over and over again.
Yes, and
sure.
Lainey, I'll chime in here. Even though I may not have a finance or accounting degree, what I have seen is that from another side of the people equation, the processes in which finance and accounting currently use and continue to use are repetitive and mundane. Many of those processes are repetitive and mundane. And that contributes to the workforce not being satisfied, wanting to leave. Hiring retention is very difficult in this market. So the more that something can be taken away from someone that is repetitive and mundane and really low level work. I mean, keying in figures into a Excel spreadsheet does not really speak to someone having a
That doesn't
CPA
excite you.
degree.
Yeah.
I mean, really, did you go to CPA, go through all of that to key in numbers all day long,
Yeah.
or compare spreadsheets on accuracy, or maintain a very complicated spreadsheet with really incredibly difficult formulas that if you make a mistake, the formula wrecks, and so does the Excel spreadsheet. How do you find those issues? And finance and accounting is a business function that must happen every day, every day. I mean, every day, any day. And so, I think where Fahrenheit really does a great job is hearing those problems, supplementing with obviously people help, or with the kinds of ideas and solutions, something like automation and process optimization, to alleviate a company's issues in those areas and bring efficiencies to that company where they may not have thought about in the past. I mean, you're so busy doing the work every day. You're so busy making sure it's right. You're so busy making sure people are happy doing those jobs. When do you really have time to stop and think about, how could I make this better? How could I make this more efficient? How could I be a little disruptive in my business by implementing something new, but in the long run saves me money, time, and I increase the satisfaction of my workforce? This is where we see technology solutions working with finance and accounting to deliver something much more powerful to a company.
Yeah. So along that same vein, what are some of the unique solutions you guys have done with clients at Fahrenheit?
We look at systems, current systems or tools that a company uses, and maybe help them extract more value out of those tools. Maybe it's a training issue. Maybe it's an issue where people do not understand navigational issues with the actual tool that they're using. Is the tool the right tool for them today? They may have chosen a particular software product, accounting system that fit the company's size and needs 5-10 years ago. Then maybe they've outgrown it. Maybe the company has become more sophisticated or complicated with its transactions, has more customers or vendors that it needs to deal with, complicated transactions with those vendors. Maybe those systems aren't a good fit anymore. So Fahrenheit can come in, talk, figure out, hear the problems, find a better system, better way of doing something, having its own people come in and maybe train and see what is going on with those particular areas of concern.
Well, I think on our end, because a lot of the clients that we have, if they're even the mid-range clients, you'll get a lot of pushback when you suggest, robotic process automation or some other form of automated processes for them in like AR, AP. They usually get very excited up front, but then they'll push back when they see the price tag or the time commitment. And so it's kind of sad because it's what will ultimately save them time and money and satisfaction in the jobs of their people going forward. It's just getting over that hurdle with them. So a lot of times you're relegated to doing things in Excel. So you can improve their processes, but it's still in Excel. And you can do
Sure.
some fabulous stuff with Excel. We do. It's just, there could be so much more that could be offered to a lot of your clients if they're willing to take the jump. So
the experiences that I have driven for other clients and in my previous roles, it was eye-opening. The resistance at the beginning was exactly what Gilbert talks about. There's this, it sounds great, but now that we are really talking about it, not so sure. And I think that is some of the the reticence that we all need to get over with something like RPA. I mean, it has proven its worth in other industries, obviously in large enterprise. It's throughout that. It's the small to middle market that's a little slow to adapt to this change.
And part of it too is the price tag.
Yeah.
While it's come down a lot, it still can seem like a lot to invest in, especially something they haven't experienced before. They don't have much understanding. They probably don't even have the internal support necessarily to even maintain them, even though they don't take
So
a lot of units really. And they're
that
actually
is
pretty
true.
simple, but it's a learning curve.
Learning curves and
that's a good
once
point.
we understand, yes, maybe the price tag seems like a lot, as a one-time fee to do something like this. It's still much less than hiring a human resource. The salary over
Yeah.
time, I mean, they just don't look at it that way. So, very, very interesting challenges to kind of get through.
Yeah, well, and you mentioned before that, a big issue for the finance industry is retention.
Very much so.
And I read a stat, and I wish I could quote it. Embarrassing to not know the source right now, but I'll send it to you after. But that it takes about anywhere from half to twice the amount of an annual salary to rehire and retrain a new person than to just retain someone.
I guess what we're known for, but they also have the placement division as well that helps find the right people. But then supporting HR resources is another thing that Fahrenheit does, is help. They can help with that piece too, the designing and kind of reshaping how HR sometimes thinks about their hiring and retention policies. And that's really important because right now it's like a lot of the HR departments I've dealt with in these other companies, through those accounting departments, and they're having to go through HR, is that they're not willing to give those pay increases to retain people, or give those benefits. Sometimes, like my generation and the next two generations after me, are much more interested a lot of times in the flexibility and some of the other benefits, not just the base pay. So it's building that package in such a way that is attractive to these next generation workers that you have, and the ones that want to feel that they're actually connected to something bigger. A more like a values-based leadership approach, where the company has a clear picture of what those values are. They're lived out by the top down, and that people can get on board with. That's a huge thing in keeping people, along with the benefits.
So that's the retention side. Yeah. I do think that there is also a huge problem with accounting and finance, that there are not enough young people going into the profession. There have been several studies and stories written in business journals about the unfortunate lack of interest of people going into the profession. So we do not have enough coming out of schools and training to take over the generations that are in those positions now. So, there is a huge crunch for people. And we're seeing it in our own recruiting practice. It's difficult to hire. There's simply people, who have retired out or have changed industries altogether, because the industry is not that appealing when there are long hours, repetitive work, not, the salary gains are not as good as other industries. So, there are several working conditions also. So, these are the challenges that I think finance and accounting face on the future side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like financing accounting is notorious for like an 80-hour work week, and that's probably not appealing to someone who could be like a software engineer and work 30 hours a week
and make more. We hate to say it. Yeah. I mean, technology.
There's definitely a stigma that goes with accounting and finance jobs, and just in general, that it's going to be hard to overcome, even though it's changed so much in the last even just 10 years. And even the big four are already changing, where a lot of them are only working 40 hours a week now. especially their new associates coming out. So they've really worked hard, but most of the mid to smaller range firms, it's still 80, 120 hours a week. It's just the expectation. That's what I used to do. And it's, you can only do it for so long.
Yeah. So talking specifically about automation, I'll start with you, Gilbert, and then I want to hear from you, Kim. What do you feel like are the ripest use cases in finance and accounting for RPA? Like
AP, probably AP and AR, cash, probably three of the biggest areas. So there's just a lot of repetition. You go to the same places to pull reports, same area. You look at the same things on standard invoices. So I think those areas are definitely ripe for it because it's highly manual. When you're keying in, 300 invoices, 500 invoices, however many it is, like and you're just doing it over and over and over again. And then you could use RPA. Yeah, it's like to do it in a few minutes or less. That's definitely some areas I can think of right off the top that could use it to help.
Nice.
I concur.
What about you,
with
Kim?
Gilbert? AP. I think RPA has conquered the AP side pretty robustly. I think AR still has some ways to go. That is a more complex function to match payments. Sometimes they come in without enough information. So I think RPA, has some great challenges to solve to make AR a little bit more robust in that area. I think account reconciliation, again, comparing things to each other, and could it find a problem from one side or one spreadsheet to another, or one side of a system to another? I think that has some real promise there. Anything that an accounting shop is keying and doing over and over again, period, it is something for RPA. If it's something that is so repeatable and mundane, that is part of the appeal of RPA. And I think, when anyone like an Enabridge comes in, you all will sit down with that client and find out what is the best use case that RPA could be applied to solve a problem, right? RPA is not a solution for complex variable processes where there's a lot of thinking or decisioning to be made. But, there are certainly plenty of processes in accounting and finance that don't require those kinds of levels of thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can leave that to the humans because it's interesting and fun.
Exactly.
And do higher level work. I want to hire Gilbert to do the hard thinking. I do not want to hire Gilbert to key all day.
Thank you.
Yes, exactly. So we talked a little bit about this earlier, but I'm curious to know what other obstacles or kind of hesitancies you've seen from people about implementing RPA. You mentioned cost sometimes gets in the way of people's desire to implement RPA, but what other things are people hesitant about?
For sure. And then you get to, then it goes back to the people again. It's like by the time they might be ready to partially commit, oh, guess what? It's another month in close. We'll have to push it off for another week. Oh, now it's a quarter close, or now it's a year close. Now the audit is happening. So you got all these things. And then by the time that you get to about ready to commit, oh, it's slowing down the summer, then they leave and they go to another company and then you have to start over again. So that's a hard part, is to get people to go ahead and try that first one. Because once you've got that first one, they can see the results, and it's sharing with the clients, hey, these are tasks. So identifying the most repetitive, time-consuming simplest tasks. Start with one. Let's try one, see how that goes, and just get them to commit to that. Just a small piece of the pie is the hardest part. And I think once you can get that first one in, I think then they get excited and they see the results. You get the deliverables, then I think the clients will be much more willing to then take a bigger bite.
For me, it's the people, because I'm in the advisory side of the firm. Talking to a leader and managers who own these processes, there is some fear. It's disruptive. It requires them to learn new things. It requires them to trust in something that they may not know very much about. Then they figure out how to support it. We're not going into an IT area where there are IT professionals who are used to thinking about solutions and code and architecture or infrastructure. We're talking about operational people who may not have that experience and frankly are fearful of, once you put it in, how do I maintain it? Once you put it in, if something goes wrong, how do I fix it? You put something in, I don't understand how it works. These are big questions for non-IT areas that utilize technology that they're always very concerned about. But again, I think that Enterbridge has picked a platform and use cases that I think would make that transition a little easier. And somebody like a Fahrenheit Advisors, we're here to help with those conversations with the people in the decision making so that it is easier to adopt.
Yeah, no, you make a great point. So if you had to summarize or kind of give a quick pitch, I guess, to someone who wants to get started with RPA in their organization, like give them like a 3-step, what do you suggest that they do?
Gilbert, start from the fine.
Yeah,
you do
okay.
it because it's for you. It's for your,
it's for me,
your
right?
world.
I'd probably just tell them, hey, if you're wanting to save time and help your people be more fulfilled in their work and use their technical understanding and their higher learning and education more to the fullest, and then this is an area, RPA, looking at process automation is the way to go. It's well worth the investment of your time and resources, and it'll pay back tenfold, at least, if not more.
Gilbert did a great job. I think the key is listen to the client, find out the areas that they need help with, find this, then connect to a solution that solves their problems. That's with any firm, any problem. Start small, make sure people are going along the way, understand along the way, and pivot. Everybody pivots when new things happen. Changes have to be made. That's why you do go small steps along a chosen path. And if changes happen, you make the change and keep going. But keep going is the question, is the solution is not to stop dead and get fearful. That's what both firms are here to help with.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and talking about technology and solutions that you guys are working on at Fahrenheit. I think it's very intriguing. I hope everyone will go and check out your platform. Are you guys on LinkedIn? Do you have LinkedIn?
We do have
page?
LinkedIn profiles. We are there. And our website is there, FahrenheitAdvisors.com. So you're welcome to take a look at us there. We are not in the technology space, like we said at the onset, but we help with all other operational and strategy functions of the business. And, we're happy to help in those areas and happy to have a great resource like Enterbridge to work with when our clients need that kind of help. We're excited to hear about you providing those kinds of technologies.
Yeah, I'm excited to team up. I feel like we got some great expertise between our two companies. So offering the best solutions for our finance and accounting friends. We love them. Well, thank you guys so much again for joining me today. And thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you so much.